Okay, this is just gonna go up without even edits. I just want to do what I said that I was gonna do, which is basically start a YouTube channel about books and other things that I enjoy. And so, regardless of what this looks like, it's literally just gonna go up on YouTube because I can't just keep waiting on the fact that I don't know what I'm doing. I've already been thinking about names for this video and whether or not it should just be the reason I love romantasy and reading. See, like even now, like or if I should also just also tell you guys like the reason why like I want to start a YouTube channel or anything like that. But like I said, this is going up this way regardless of how this content pans out and if there's like awkward silences or whatever have you. I decided that maybe doing it while driving would be better just because it gives me a distraction and I wouldn't be so awkward about looking at the camera all the time and having to like feel awkward looking at myself. So I decided that maybe driving in the beginning would make the most sense. So hi, my name is Joyce. I love books. And I'm not as OG as some others. I started reading the same way I feel like everyone else did with romantasy, and it's still the genre that I read 100% of the time. Whether or not that's going to change, maybe it will, but there's just something about romantasy that I get the perfect balance of the romance and like the fantasy fighting elements that like I also really, really enjoy. So maybe that's just the genre that I keep reading. So I started like an Instagram account and it just does like book reviews and everything, but I really do want to participate in like the community as well because I love book YouTube. I watch Nichelle Books. I used to watch Ellen Catherine, Raven Haired Reader, Mel Reads. I watch all their videos and they're just like such a comfort to just have. And it just gives me a sense of community when I do watch those videos. So I figured, why not participate, whether or not this gets any views or not. I just want to let other people know that I'm out here too. But then on top of that, I just okay. So I wanted to start this channel because I wanted it to be like at the peak of like everything I love. That books are so amazing, and I love reading, and these are the books that I'm enjoying, and maybe like small peeks into my life when it makes sense. But literally within the last couple of months, it has gotten really rough. Just in like my personal life and work. And so I really started I didn't want to come on here and just be like mopey. So then I stopped thinking about it, and honestly reading also became such a chore, and I wasn't enjoying it as much as I once was because of the fact that I was just in my head and really, really burnt out and tired. And so even books that I've recently read, like I recently read some of my most anticipated reads. I read what is it? Rachel Gillig's The Night and the Moth, I think is what it's called, and then the sequel to that, the Knave and the Moon or something like that. Sorry, I'll try to put it in like the caption down in the descriptions. And then I read the Ballad of the Dragons, by Sarah Park, another sequel. And then I read, what else did I read? I read another book. Sorry, again, like I told you, I was going to be rambling, but I read those books and I couldn't tell whether or not I wasn't fully enjoying it because of the book itself, of the plot, the story. If I just wasn't like as intrigued, or if it literally was the fact that like I am just so tired and was really sad at the idea that um reading was becoming a chore and couldn't bring the joy that it really was before, like a year ago. Like I really fell in love with reading. I started with the akatar like everyone did. Like I found again YouTube. Like I was just watching people and I think, and it wasn't even a YouTuber that recommended it, but I just heard the word akatar so many times, and I really wanted to read. I actually really wanted to read something like with fantasy elements. Lord of the Rings is like one of my favorite movies, so I figured, oh, let me just try like fantasy books. But everyone kept talking about akatar, and so I was like, why not? I'll just try reading the book that everyone seems to be like in love with, and I read it, and the first book was fine, but then by the second and third book I was in love with the world, with the characters, of course. And then by Silver Flames and Nesta, I was like, oh, this is totally what I need and what I wanted. And I think a lot of people who read romantasy, you know it's this character arc of someone who has to be the hero of their own story and try to become someone that the story needs, and they do that for themselves as well. And I think that's amazing. And I think with the love part of romantasy, the romance part of romantasy, I think it's really a safety net, and it feels safe to know that someone can evolve, and then the love interest will always be there to love that version of the character. And so it just wasn't just the fantasy elements. It wasn't just like the battles that I was like now interested in. It was, wow, here are these characters that can be flawed or make mistakes or have to make a hard decision, and they'll always be loved and accepted by either the love interest or by just a found family about the other characters. And so and just really really captivated me, and it was exactly, and it still is exactly what I needed. um yeah, it's a comfort. So yeah, I started with Akhtar, and I have read, I want to say I've read over 100 books at this point. And literally all romantasy or close to romantasy esque. um and I don't know, I just thought maybe starting a YouTube channel would be kind of that secondary layer of, again, getting involved in like the genre, the the hobby that has really captivated me and made me so happy. But again, by the time I decided to start doing YouTube, or by the time I decided to start doing this, I myself became like stuck in a rut and really really just like not in the right headspace. But I just told myself like to just do it, because why not? And if this, like I said, if this video goes down in like 3 weeks because I'm so embarrassed by it, then it comes down in 3 weeks. But I just wanted to post this for myself as well. Yeah, so I can honestly say that books are like definitely a huge part of like my personality and like what I enjoy. I love going to bookstores. I love other YouTubers. I love reading Goodreads. I love reading Reddits about like books that I've read. Um, so it's something that I do enjoy. And whether or not, however long this YouTube channel lasts, we'll see. But I will go back and introduce myself. So my name is Joyce. I'm 41. Um, I live in California. I have a full-time job right now. And I'm really thankful because of how stressful it is to honestly be in this economy right now. I'm in the apparel business. Um, and it's been a lot of fun. I get to be around a lot of creatives most of the times. And it's really enjoyable to kind of see how it all pans out. But I will say, like I said, it's been a rough economy. If anyone who lives in America knows, it's been tough. And so work has been much more stressful and much more, um, yeah, much more a source of anxiety than it has been in the last couple of years. Um, and so I don't want to not mention that on my YouTube channel just because I think it's worth another part of the reason why I like YouTube is just like knowing and understanding that there's other humans on the other side of the videos. And so if you're going through that too, if you're suffering from anxiety, if work is super, super stressful, you're burning yourself out, just know that I'm right there with you, that I get it and that it sucks. And it's hard to find that balance between joy of like being outside of work, but also trying to make sure that you feel like you're doing enough to like keep your job and like fully be present there. It's tough. And it's kind of like the state of my life now where I feel like I'm in this midlife crisis. Um, and this one source of joy, books, has really been, yeah, like I've lost the joy, but I still am trying to be present in it and enjoy it. I still do read. Like I said, I read the last three books that I mentioned. I probably read within the span of like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. By the time I got the books, I ordered them from Blackwell. Um, Another thing about me, yeah, I love paperbacks. So for whatever reason, even when it's like a book I really, really am anticipating, it's like I can't buy the hardback to read it. I'm just a paperback girly, and I know you can get the books on Kindle as well, but I just am like a book lover and I don't have a Kindle, and I know I can probably buy one, but I'm stuck in my ways. I love the feel of a paperback, so I often try to find ways to just get them. I've been fortunate enough where I've traveled a bit for work, and I actually go to Europe maybe once or twice a year for work, and literally made it my mission to find as many paperbacks as I could when I'm abroad. And that was honestly so much fun and such a great way for me to get the paperbacks that I want. But yeah, I'm a paperback person. So like I oftentimes will just read books that are available that way, and then yeah, base my TBR in that sense. I don't usually do like a monthly TBR or anything like that. I honestly am just kind of a mood reader. Like I'll read whatever it is that I want to read in that moment. I am someone, however, who is, if I'm starting a series, I'm definitely not one of those people that will be like, read a book and then take a break and then come back to it. I literally will, if possible, will read that series, like that whole series through. Like it will be the second book, the third book I read, because I think it does help in the enjoyment of the overall story when I can read that way, because everything's fresh in my mind. Um, I'm definitely the type of reader who like can't not know, so it just makes it more enjoyable for me. I will say, coming back to like the books that I've read, if you did read When the Moon Hatched and you are reading the Ballad of Dragons, I'm so sorry if all these names are wrong too. Like I said, I'm just shooting from my head. I didn't prepare anything. But if you're reading that second book, you absolutely need to read The Moon Hatch, When the Moon Hatched, like again, or read like a very dense like recap of the book, because I was so lost on certain things, and I had to like go in the crevices of my memory about what it was that may be like an Easter egg or not an Easter egg. But highly recommend if you're going to read the second book, to read the When the Moon Hatched first, like, or at least find a really really good recap. Because I mean, I guess I should have known that anyways. Like, that book is dense. Like, When the Moon Hatched is so, there's so much details, there's so much world building, there's so much background story. The characters are super super complex, and so I should have known better. I kind of blame myself. Like, I definitely think a reread would have helped the enjoyment. I still enjoyed the book for sure, because I still remembered the general plot of the book. But man, there was definitely, by the time I finished it and then was on Reddit and like reading the other kind of feedback and stuff, it's like so many people were able to catch Easter eggs that I didn't even notice, because of the fact that I think they were just like freshly read off of When the Moon Hatched. So just a tidbit: if you're gonna watch, or I'm sorry, if you're gonna read When the Moon Hatched, sorry, not When the Moon Hatched, the second book, you should read When the Moon Hatched. Um, what else? I think my second video is probably going to be the, what is it? Mid-year freakout book YouTube, and just kind of go over all the books that I've read thus far. My reading year so far has been okay. And I don't know if it's just like the books I'm picking aren't good, or not, just like just not, I'm not in the right, like, it's not good in the sense like I'm picking up books and not giving it the attention it deserves. And if that's the case, or if I'm just like in the slump with romantasy as a genre, and I really, really should just try romance or fantasy to kind of be a palate cleanser, which I know some other YouTubers tend to do, so that I could go back into romantasy with like an appreciation. I don't know. I can definitely, I feel like some of the books, like a lot of the books I read this year, I would say are like the second book or the third installment in a series. And it's surprising me in some ways where I'm not enjoying it as much as the first book. And I don't know if that's because I'm not enjoying the plot as much. Oh, that was the other book. Gosh. Okay. So from my Blackwell um, haul, it was Fury Bound. So the second book, Dire Bound, and then Fury Bound. Fury Bound was the second book that or third book that I got from Blackwell. That was another book that I read, and that was another highly anticipated book for me, because I really really liked Dire Bound. I loved the world. I loved the characters. I loved the MMC. I thought he was great, and so that was like another book where I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to see where this story goes off. And it was one of those things where, again, like, I don't know if I was just rushing to the end because I'm like, I'm not enjoying where I'm at, so let me just keep reading to see if it gets better. Like, maybe that was like my mindset. But again, another one where it's like, it was actually pretty good, but like, I think I was anticipating it to be just as good as Dire Bound, because I really did like that book. So maybe that's like, again, where my headspace is. Like, I'm just not allowing myself to kind of fully immerse myself into these reads anymore, because like I'm just burnt out. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping this um, YouTube is going to be. I'd love to talk mostly about books, maybe a little bit about life, but we'll see. Maybe it'll just be like book talk, book stuff, book reads. Because I really do enjoy reading. I do. And I love books. I do love the process of buying books. Like I said, I don't have a Kindle. I never did. I just always have read from books, but I wasn't even a big reader when I was younger. I was an English major in college and really tried to read books that would make me think. And I think we're a little too over my head for where I was, to be quite honest. Like I wanted to be like such a little hipster kid who like loved the indie book, but like was, like I said, not, I could, yeah, definitely not in that space. I wasn't like ready for that type of like metaphysical thinking, I guess. But I was an English major because I've always loved reading. I never, I know certain people loved English and were English majors because they wanted to write, and like essay writing was like one of the things they enjoyed. But I will honestly say I'm not even that good of a writer. But what I always appreciated was the written language and the way that other people could read the same thing that I was reading and come out from reading whatever we read, and it be different opinions, different perspectives, different way of interpreting. I thought was so cool, and like was a big reason why I liked English. I thought it was really fascinating that I could have one opinion about it and one way of seeing something read, and then someone else could have a completely other viewpoint. But I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I just knew I loved reading. That's like literally why I became an English major. But had such a fallout with reading, I couldn't read. But I was always surrounded by books. I actually worked at Borders um, before they filed for Chapter 11. And so there was just always a part of me that like loved books, like literally books, like not even literature. I think it was this um, real appreciation of the illustration of a book, the way a book felt, the physical aspect of reading pages. I don't know. I just loved everything. I loved bookstores. I loved everything about what it entailed with books. And so reading, I feel like, came later in life, where it was something that I knew I enjoyed, but like I just never gave myself the time to read until recently with COVID happening, and I was just looking for another escape. I'm not the type of person that can watch like TV shows. Like, those are things where I can't watch something if I'm not at least enjoying some version, something about it. Like, I can't just watch a bad show. Like, I know some people can, honestly. Like, it's just like one of those, well, it's just like something in the background. Um, it just, is noise in the background. I could never do that. I actually would probably watch more YouTube than shows because of that. Because of that. And I just wanted to get back into reading because I thought that was another good way of just like spending time, because I had gotten to the point where like even YouTube and like TV and like music, like nothing else was like entertaining me. And I know like boredom is fine and I probably should, like, I don't know, go outside and like enjoy the park. But like decided that what I really wanted to do is just get back into reading, but like in pure enjoyment of it. I think I wanted to not care about the genre anymore. I didn't want to care about whether or not someone thought what I was reading was cool or not. And I think for a while I did care whether or not someone thought what I was reading was respectable. And not to say that romantic, that's a whole other video, but like not to say that the romanticy isn't. But I wanted to read like Pulitzer Prize winning books and stuff. And like maybe again, like maybe on my journey of reading I'll eventually get there, but not now. But yeah, I just wanted to get into reading. And so I'm so happy that Akatar was the um the series that got me, that I picked up, because I don't know if I maybe have picked up any other book if I would have been like, oh my god, I just don't think reading is for me. Like there could have been that could have been it. I could have picked up maybe something that I didn't end up liking and then wouldn't have given reading a chance. Maybe I hopefully would have, maybe a couple of months later, maybe I would have decided that I'll give it a go again. But yeah, Akatar was definitely it for me. And it led to so many other books and like such a deep dive into other books. And like, I'm so thankful that the book community was so at the tips of my fingers. There was so many TBRs and so many YouTubers and just so much access to like being able to foster this enjoyment of reading and books. And yeah, I just I just loved it. It really, really gave me something to look forward to every day. So even when work was hard, even when life was hard, it like, oh my God. Sorry, I'm driving, like I said. So like, bear with me. But yeah, it was just one of those things where it's just like I fell in love with reading. It gave me something to do, something to look forward to. But that's also why my heart breaks a little if the my mental state as of right now is taking that away from me. Like I don't want to not enjoy reading. I don't want to make it feel like my mind is so not at ease that I can't enjoy something that has given me joy for over a year. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know um if I'll be able to find, that book that brings back my joy, or if life will allow me to get back in balance and not have to stress out so much, because currently I feel like that's the biggest reason why I can't enjoy books is this high level of like anxiety and stress that I'm experiencing. And so it's causing me to not be able to slow down and enjoy what I'm doing anymore, which sucks. Like reading definitely brings you back to being present, and you have to kind of read and be present. You can't read because you'll just forget kind of by the next chapter what it is you're trying to grasp. And maybe that's another reason why I love reading, is that it makes me slow down and it makes me present. But yeah, I think that's kind of the biggest reason why I fell in love with reading again. It was just like a fun way to read these amazing stories and slow down somewhat, um and enjoy a story. But like I said, I don't know. It's been difficult to find time and balance to do that, but I don't know. I'm hoping maybe this YouTube channel will slow me down again and give me an outlet to express myself, uh, have fun again, make things lighthearted. Because yeah, like I said, this is going up regardless. Like I'm not editing this, and so if you literally watch for this long, bless you, because this is just me rambling about whatever it is that's on top of my head. My plan is that this video is going to stop when I find parking, which honestly, in where I'm at, may take forever. So we'll see. Um, but yeah, welcome if you are watching this, and thank you for watching. Uh, yeah, I don't know how many videos I'm going to do. I don't know if this is going to be my only one, if I'm going to get really mean comments and then stop right now and not post ever again. But there's just wanted to do it. I just wanted to do something fun and for myself, and I thought this was a good way to do it. But yeah, if you have any recommendations for books, even if it's not romantasy, like I said, I'll give it a go. Romantasy is just a genre that I fell in love with, but if there are other genres that you feel are interesting, or if there's other books that you recommend or really, really love, um, then I'd love to hear it. Maybe it is the fact that I should, diversify. If you're want to know my palette, if you will, so Silver Quarter Silver Flames, one of my favorite books of all time. I love Nesta so much. Um, I think her character arc was so beautiful. Um, the Bridge Kingdom series by Daniel Jensen is another one where I loved. So that one's a set of duologies, but over the span of, what is it, 2, 4, 6 books, I think. But I really love the first two, um, the first two books, and then the final two were some of my favorites ever. So that as well. What other books do I like? Oh gosh. What other books do I like? See, now I'm like running out of things to do because now I have to focus on finding parking. And now we're doing this. Uh, what other books do I like? Um, I did like Air of Fire. So this is the thing about me too. Okay, so like Throne of Glass was a great series, but the trauma that that book sometimes triggered in me, like I couldn't, like I know people really loved. I think I found parking. Um, yeah, okay, I found parking, so maybe I'll touch on that later. But there's just some stuff where it's just like so hard for me to read, and it was so, I don't know, I couldn't do it. And again, maybe I should reread it again. Maybe I'll like it uh more now that I've read and can appreciate the storytelling a bit more. But Air of Fire, that specific book, one of my favorites. Like I love the moment when our girly just finds themselves. I don't want to spoil it if someone else hasn't read Air of Fire yet. But okay, that's it. Literally, this is going up the way it is. So bye.